Hey, what is up? So welcome to this video. What I'm going to do is break down my proposal system. It's a system I've used to land dozens of projects from $2,000 up to $20,000, and it's really effective. It's very simple to use. It's not a lot of time to write up something like this, and you're going to find that this works a lot better than what a lot of other people are using. Most web designers are sending these massive big proposals. They're like 10-page PDFs that take all this time and all this effort. I don't think that stuff is effective. A lot of the time I hear that it isn't effective and it freezes clients up. It gets them overthinking the project and it either scares them off altogether or there's a lot of delays because the client is coming back asking loads of different questions. They got concerns. They're not sure because basically they have too much information at their disposal. If you've done your job right during the sales phone call, which is when you send a proposal, you send it after a sales phone call. If you've had a decent sales phone call, you should know what they need to move ahead with something like this. You should know what's going to motivate them, what's wrong with the business right now, what problems or challenges they have, what's important for the business over the next few years or the next few months or whatever their goals are. So you have that information. All you need to do is put it in the right format in a good email. Just an email. You don't have to send all this other stuff. You don't have to burn up loads of time. And you don't have to take that risk because you haven't been paid yet, so you shouldn't be doing all this work. You put it all in an email, the right sort of email like this, and I'll show you how to do it. Send that, you send the invoice, you let them come back if they have any questions, and if they don't have any questions, a lot of the time they'll just go right ahead and pay. If they do have questions, they come back to you, you address those questions, their concerns or objections they might have, move past those, and then get them to basically commit to the project. And then you start getting into the project details, you start requesting information, you start talking about the fine details. Don't talk about fine details before the client has paid for the project. It's a very common mistake. You don't do that stuff until you've gotten paid. Don't give them any sort of solutions. Don't give them the fine detail of what you're going to do. Don't get into the technical ways that you're going to solve their problems until you're paid. You're still selling right up until that money's in your account. I think a lot of people feel that after they've met a client in person or they've had a good sales phone call, that it's sold. And they think that it's fine to start, hey, this is what we're going to do. And this is what I need from you. And these are the next stages for the next 10 weeks. And these are all the different things. And it just freaks the client out. It's way too much information. It's not helping you sell. And because they haven't even paid you yet, now it's only going to hold them back on actually going ahead and paying the deposit or the percentage of the invoice or whatever. So until it's sold, you're still selling, and how you're still selling is using something like this, keeping it all about what's going to motivate them to take action, and you're being very light on the technical details, keeping as much of that out of this as possible because it's not going to help you sell. They don't need to know that stuff just yet, and it's way too much information that's only going to freeze up the client. So with that in mind, let's get into the system that I use. Now, to give it a little bit of a context, a lot of the sales work that I do and the information that I use, it all comes from the sales phone call. Now, if you don't know how to have a good sales phone call, check out the link down below. I'm going to link to a video that I made on sales phone calls, how to have a plan, how to get all the information that you need to put into an email like this. But I'm also going to link to a template that you can use to write up these emails yourself. And I'll even include this email as well, so you don't have to pause the video and try copy and paste it all out, which I know people have done in the past. So I'll just give you this real email. This comes from a real $12,000 project that I did before. I'll give you the template, and I'll also post to another video with the sales plan. So check out the links below for all that stuff. So let's get into it right away. I'm going to keep it shorter. I don't want to read this word for word because when I do, it turns into like a 30-minute video. What I'll do is give you the general gist. So hello to the client's name. I've obviously taken it out of here. First paragraph, I always thank them for taking the time to talk. I tell them I feel good about the project, and I set the tone for the email. Now, the tone that I want for the email is keeping it about goals, keeping it about what the business wants, and keeping it away from technical stuff, the fine details, the design side of the website project. So I sell web design as a tool, as a system or a way of getting results. I don't sell web design because it looks pretty and it's X amount of pages and it's this color. I try and stay away from all that stuff. I don't want the client focused on those things. I want them focused on what they can use a website for, what it's going to help them with, rather than exactly what the website is itself. If you have any issues with that, just post up below any questions and I'll explain it in more detail. So basically, thanks for taking the time to talk. It was great to have a quick talk and get a feel for the goals and aims of the business, not just for the website, but for the bigger picture things regarding their business. We see the website, so me and them, as a tool to help, we see the website as in my business, as a tool to help you reach and hopefully surpass those goals. So I'm pleased to get to discuss that. So I'm very directly tying this project and this email to the goals of the business from the very beginning. So I'm letting them know, and I did this on the sales phone call as well. I build websites that are based around your business goals. This isn't about me just selling you design that looks nice. This is about me helping you sell to get results, to fix specific problems. Now, what specific problems? The problems we covered on the phone call, which are the very first thing that I bring up after this initial intro. So the intro, thank them for the time, state that you feel good about the talk that you had and that you realize how important it is that you can help them with their big business problems. I'll break it down more in the template, so just check that out in the links below. So after that section, I get into recapping the main pain points during the sales call. Now, when you talk to a client, if you want to sell these big projects or even projects of any decent size, you got to find out real things that's holding them back, that's stopping them from progressing with their business. And I'm not talking just about the website here, I'm talking about the whole business. So where are they at with the business? What's annoying them? What's frustrating them? What problems do they have? Where would they like to be in the next year, in the next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? Do they want to switch up the sort of clients that they're attracting? Do they want to make it easier for them to sell? Do they want to get more sales? Do they want to get more clients? Do they want to increase their prices? Do they want to have more time off to play with their dog? Like what stuff do they want? Now, there's always something. Nobody has a perfect business. And even if they do, it doesn't stay perfect for long. So there's always something that they need help with. These are the things that you got to bring up first in your email before you get into what you're going to help them with or what your prices are or what you want to do next. You need to remind them of why it is that they need this in the first place. And that is the very first thing you should get into. Some salespeople will call this agitating the pain, basically making them very aware that they have problems. These are the problems that they have, and these are things that they need to get fixed right away. These are not things that I guess. I don't just presume to know these things. I got this information directly from them on the sales phone call. I specifically asked them what problems they had. Then when I found problems, I went into those problems. What does it look like? Why is it annoying them? What do they want instead? What other problems come from that problem? And I wrote all this stuff down, or I just remembered it. And then in the email, I'm recapping it. So in this case, there's things specific to this business. I won't get into it because it's always unique for every business. You can't just copy these ones. You got to get this information directly from the client. But what you want to do in the email is state all those things. You're basically giving them back the information that they gave you. So you said this, and this is a really big problem for you, and this is something that's coming from that problem, and this is what you want instead. So very quickly, I don't really want to get into, this unique business, but they have a family business that's growing rapidly, and they want to get to the next level of bidding on larger projects while keeping the feel and the image and the positive attributes of running a family business. So that's what these first 2 points are about. They do a lot of offline bidding. It's an activity that takes a lot of time. They put a lot of effort into it, but they have a very low success rate. So we talked about how the website could help with that and how it could improve that bidding process and make it more of a positive return on investment for the time and the effort. They have a great portfolio. It's not on their current website. So that was a huge thing that we talked about that could be better. They have all these really impressive projects. Nobody knows about it. When they bid, they can't even show this sort of stuff. So those 2 points connect together. And the next one was they wanted a job application section. So this is kind of technical stuff that directly links to a website, but they wanted a job application section and a back-end system for client information. So basically, I got a lot of stuff. I got a lot of stuff that they want fixed, and I'm the guy who can fix it. And I'm basically refreshing in their mind, because I don't know when they're going to read this email. It's, when I sent this, it was probably 2 or 3 days after the sales phone call, but maybe they're busy for a few days. They read it a week later. I don't want to assume that they remember everything. I want to state all the problems that they have in order at the beginning of the email to really get them in a state to take action. When they read this stuff, you might read this on the YouTube video and be like, oh, okay. When they read this, for them, these are big things. They, when they open this email and they see this stuff, they're like, oh yeah, that problem and this problem and oh yeah, this point, and yeah, we need that. So right away, their state when they're reading this email is one of, yeah, we got all these problems. I remember all this stuff and these are things that need to get fixed. And now they're in a good place to start taking action. We're motivating them. We're showing them the pain that already exists. We're not making this up. It's not, we're presuming to know their business. These are things that they told us. These are real things that we can help them with. So we're helping them to help themselves by motivating them to take action, by bringing up all these pain points. As you get good at sales phone calls, you'll get a lot of this information. Again, check out the link to the other video, because you need those strong pain points to build the fuel to get them fired up to decide to take action. So cover those things first, cover them in detail, list it out, start with the strongest first, and go through all the main pain points and areas that they want to improve. Now, when you've done that, you don't want like a super negative pain-based email. So you want to switch it up and you want to get into the potential here. So I always, after the pain point section, I always get into the potential. With this particular business, they were ranked number 1 for a lot of keywords, which is how I found them in the first place. They had an old website with a lot of content, so it was actually doing okay SEO wise, but it just wasn't selling. It was a terrible design. It was way too much of the wrong sort of content, kind of like a Wikipedia sort of website, just like straight information, not persuasive, no calls to action, no selling systems or any of that sort of stuff. So basically I was going over, they have good SEO, you're getting some visitors, you're doing stuff offline that can tie into this website. So why don't we basically use the potential you already have, work with that potential, fix these pain points, and that's leading into the final section where I start talking about the solution. So to recap, nice little intro where you thank them for the time, you state that you feel good about the project, you get into the pain points, cover all the main pain points, then you get into the positive things that they have to work with, the potential that you see, and what you think they should be focusing on, and what you would love to help them with. That's what you're doing in this section. Okay, so the second page of this, and in an email, that would have all been one page. The second page, and I want to keep this video as short as possible, so I'll go through this pretty fast. Once we've gone through the pain points, once we've talked about the potential, I then start putting in things that's going to boost my credentials, that's going to make me look like the right person for the project. In this section, because of this particular project, I mentioned the people I was working with. I have a great content writer, I have an accomplished designer, I have someone to take care of the SEO. I did that with this project because it was needed for the sort of site that we're planning and the size of the project. In your case, if it's just you and you feel comfortable about it, just say that you feel good about the project and you know that you're capable of doing a great job. If you want, you can reference other projects in this stage, or you can put it at the bottom, which is what I did here, but I actually took it out. I just referenced like 3 projects below and the results that I got, and I gave phone numbers to the owners with the contact names, etc. But you could put it in this section here. All you're doing is building credibility, building authority, and showing that you're definitely capable of producing good results. Again, you don't want to get into the technical stuff. You don't want to start saying, this is what the SEO person's going to do. This is what the content writer is going to do. This is what I'm going to do with design. It's this many pages with this system, and I'm going to code it using these languages. You don't have to do that stuff. They probably don't even understand it, or they don't even care. They care about that end solution. That's why they're hiring you, to get a result. Focus on the results. Don't get into the technical stuff. If you need to, just talk about who's on your team, the capabilities that they have. If it's just you, talk about the abilities that you have. Now, if there's something with the project that you're not able to do, but you want to show that you can do it, all you have to do before you send this email, go find someone who's capable. use your web design connections, Facebook group, go on Upwork, find someone who's capable. And then in this section of the email, you could say, hey, for the AdWords, I have a great connection. They're super, they're really effective at doing AdWords. They've worked on dozens of projects and got amazing results. And that is the person I'm going to use for this project. So the AdWords are fully covered. Basically, you just find someone and then you just let this person know, the potential client, that you have the right person for the job. They're more than capable and that it's taken care of. So without getting into the details, you're basically removing any fears or any doubts or any worries that they have that you're capable of doing whatever it is that you're promising. The next section here is removing any objections. In this case, the main objection that they had to paying that amount of money, over $12,000 for a website, was that the photos wouldn't be good enough. Now, this was tricky for me because I was working, I was not in the country that I was selling this website to. I was working remotely. I didn't have any way to take the photos. So what I did to remove this objection is I basically said I'd take care of it by going looking for a local photographer online. And they also mentioned that they knew this person that I blanked out. So, unless they want that person to do it. Then I resold them on the importance of having good photos. I did this because even though I'm not making the money from the photos that's going to the photographer, if they don't believe in the value of paying a photographer even more, so that's on top of 12,000, now they're paying even more. If they don't believe in that cost and they don't get the photos, then they probably won't get the website. So I was helping to sell the photos here, even though I don't make the money, because if they don't pay for the photos, they're not going to pay me. So you got to remove not only the objections that are directly related to you, you got to remove all the objections to getting them to sign up for this website project. So that's what you want to do at the very end, after you've gone over the pain points, after you've talked about all the potential that you see, after you've built up your own qualifications and credentials and make sure that they trust you. Remove any objections that you can predict. Sometimes you won't predict them all. They'll come back to you with an email. Hey, what about this problem? Are you going to take care of that? That's fine. You just figured out those little things that you missed, but you try to guess or preempt as many as you can and take care of them proactively in this first email. Sometimes when you do a good job, you remove them all. And the next thing you know, the clients pay the invoice and they're good to go right away. So give it your best attempt at removing all the objections that you can. Try and predict what would hold them back. If you were the client, what would stop you from getting this project? And then have the best information that you can, without having too much information, to get them past that point. So as an example, this one's pretty common. Maybe the client says, oh, with the content on the website, I just don't have time to write the content right now. And so you could say, hey, I have a great content writer lined up who works in the niche. Or you could say, hey, I'm going to spend a lot of the focus on this project on having great content. But of course, any changes that you want to make, you just let me know once it's done and we can go from there. So you're basically predicting from the sales call, from what you know about the business, from what you know about the business owner, what problems they have, and you take care of it first before they have to bring it up, which is always better. This is getting quite long, so I'll wrap it up just like this YouTube video. Let me know your thoughts and feedback. And then at the end, I get into the quote. So this is the very last thing that I mentioned pretty much. The quote I sent is flexible. In this case, it was flexible. Sometimes it's not. I just pick the best amount and I let them know. And the quote is flexible, but I would prefer to really have the time and means to create something great and that's a business name. Although not my preferred style of site, I will be aiming for something on this level, and I referenced another website. Just to put in perspective, that other website is worth $50,000. I'm only mentioning this since you haven't dealt, that's a spelling mistake, with website pricing before. So just to put a bit of context on it. Basically, when I talked to them on the phone, they had no idea about website prices. For them, a website was like $500. So when I said I wanted to work around a budget of $10,000 to $15,000, that was a really big surprise for them. So what I'm doing here is I'm price anchoring, which is a technique where you mention a big price and then they go check out the invoice and they're like, well, he mentioned 50,000, but he only quoted us 12,000. Rather than they think a website is 500 and then they see a price for 12,000 and they're like, that's way bigger. So I'm making them think that my price is smaller by giving it a different perspective, which is, it's a really effective thing in pricing and in selling. You want to set high amounts and then move down to your amount, rather than them think that your amount is this way bigger amount than everything else. Just Google price anchoring if you want to read more about that. Thanks for taking the time to read this, and hope it gives a clear vision of what we are about. Any feedback or questions, don't hesitate to contact me. Also, as a timeline, I think a site could be finished. I think this site, didn't even check my spelling on this. I think this site could be finished by early August and fully functional before mid-August. Thanks. So you can see here, I mean, I got some spelling mistakes and stuff. Why I'm getting away with this, and you might think that, you know, that isn't professional straight up, but why I still got this project is because the pain points were so accurate. These are things they really, really need to help, but the potential that we talked about on the phone call and that I recapped in this section, there was a lot of potential there. There's a lot of things that I could do to help them sell. I had the team in place. I had the ability to help them. I seen the potential with getting better photos, and I asked for the right amount of money to do the best sort of project for them and walk away with a good profit for myself. So you can see that when you do it this way, you can still make some spelling mistakes. Your grammar mightn't be 100%, but you're getting the sale because you're really speaking in the language of what matters most to them. And you're making it very easy for them to go ahead and sell. And that's the whole thing with this approach, is that they read this and they're like, yeah, we got all those problems and there is all that potential and this person is capable of helping. So why don't we just give them the money and we go ahead and we get this done? I'm not giving them anything here, or very little, that they can object to. Now, instead, if I just sent a massive proposal document, 20 pages, all the different stuff I'm going to do and all the different information about the technical side of things, now there's dozens, if not hundreds of things that they can get caught up in, that they can object to, that they can have concerns about. This approach with a simple proposal like this, it's very slick. It hits on the things that matters most to them. It gets them fired up, it gets them motivated, and it gets them to take action, and it keeps it simple. And once they commit to the project, once they pay the invoice, and in my case, it's always 50-50. I get 50% up front, 50% when it's done. Once they pay, then I can start getting into the technical things, and I can start requesting information and start breaking down the project once they've committed. But I need to make sure that they're committed first. So an email like this is all about making sure that they commit. Now, I want to keep this video as short as possible, so I'll wrap it up at that. I know that's a lot of information. Any questions on this, just post up down below. Check out the links. I'll link to the guide to using this. I'll give you a template, and I'll give you this actual one that I used as well, this exact email. So that is it. I hope it helps. I know this is a different style video to normal, but with something like this, I wanted to go into detail and just really break it down. So let me know what you think about this video approach. If you like this style, let me know in the comments. And if you have any requests for similar videos on a different topic, just let me know. So that is it. Catch you in the next video.